wisdom, Dr.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I'll accept that.
You got no choice.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to, it is 6:30. Welcome to the William Penn School District property meeting of June 29th, 2022. Calling this meeting to order. This evening, during the property meeting, we will be reviewing a presentation from KCBA, as well as taking a look at the RFP's timeline and some approvals, and then there will be a discussion. So to start us off, I'm going to turn the floor over to Ryan, who's going to take us through a quick presentation.
Ryan, do you want me to drive it, or are you have your own?
I can share a screen.
All right. Well, yeah, once you share yours, then I'll jump back in. Thank you.
Luella, do you have something burning on the stove?
No, that's my candle. That's
Okay.
fine. Thanks anyway. I'm fine.
Okay.
All right, so thank you again for having us back. As Jan said, June 29th, review of the consultant proposals that were received by the district. So on Monday, June 27th, various proposals were received for each of the three items that we're showing here. The first item being Kerr Field. And that RFP went out through or in coordination with the Pennsylvania Cooperative Agreement, which is a design build construction method. So a little bit more on that in a slide here. The second one was cost estimation services for East Lansdowne renovation, as well as Evans renovation. And then the second portion to Evans would be cost estimation services for the gym addition as well. And then the third and final RFP is for engineering services for that Evans gym addition. And it should be noted that the costs for all three of these proposals were included in the total project costs that were shared earlier in previous meetings. So all of these are part of that project budget already. So the first, Kerr Field, as noted, it's through the Pennsylvania Cooperative Agreement. So what that means is the district can hire the construction team ahead of the final design and documentation. So that means that we are all able to work together, the district, the construction team, as well as the architect, and the construction team consists of the civil engineer. So all of us are able to work together, and that allows us to deliver a higher quality project, keep it on budget and on schedule. And once again, the district can select this team based on merit and experience. So those three companies, you can see their names down there at the bottom: Miller Sports, Mid-Atlantic Sports Construction, and Keystone Sports Construction. The second portion is cost estimating services for the Esser project. So that is East Lansdowne and Evans. So what this service provides are the detailed estimates, both of material types, as well as specific contractor services. So through the various prime contractors that will be constructing the building, breaking the cost estimate down into those pieces. The previous cost estimates are square footage cost based. It's a broader brush estimate. So this really gets into the nuts and bolts. And what that really does is that allows us to get a list of costs that we can look at. And if we need to take cost saving measures, we can look at what can be done to save and stay on budget through this evaluation of a more detailed cost estimate. And once again, this is a professional service, so the district can team with the recommended provider of their choosing, not necessarily the lowest bidder. Finally, cost the civil engineering services. This is only for Evans. So the gym addition at Evans, this is what that is for. And the reason for this service is it requires approvals local, county, state approvals. And as part of this request for proposal, there'll be a full site survey as well as subsurface geotechnical testing. So we need to make sure that the earth is good and suitable for building, and also project design services. So the construction documents for the project. And also as part of this larger approval package, specifically are the land development approvals that would be coordinated directly by the civil engineer. Once again, this is a professional service, so the district can team with the recommended provider. Again, not necessarily the lowest bidder. So those are the 4 quick overview pieces that I have. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff, who can share, I believe, share the proposals. Jeff, I believe you're muted.
Correct, I am muted. Okay, so here we go. Let me share this. I'm going to. So thus far, for the construction estimate, we have received 4 proposals, and you'll see them listed here in alphabetical order. And I did put the location of the companies. I just thought it was interesting to make sure that everyone was aware that, as I stated, when we put the proposals out, these companies have people who go out and search for these type of RFPs. So you see we have one from Jersey and actually 2 companies from New York. So we had 4 proposals there that submitted for construction estimates. And we have 1 for civil engineering as well submitted thus far. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to slide on to the timeline with some of this Ryan had already mentioned. I'm going to recap it. June 15th, we advertised the RFPs on our webpage. June 17th and 21st, they were advertised in the local media. As Ryan has stated, we received them on June the 27th. The plan is that in July, the second week in July, the property committee, along with the board president and athletic director, will hear proposals from the 3 companies for Kerr Field. We have allotted times for them over a 2-day period where we will listen to their proposals, and we will come out of there. We will have a rubric. We will grade each of the proposals, and we will use that as our determination of what to put forward for a vote in July. Also at that time, we will evaluate the 4 proposals we received for the cost estimates. We'll do that as well during that 2-day period. And again, the idea is to come out of this with a motion to be approved at the July 25th business meeting. So I will quickly go, or I'll go over the motions that will come forward. First, that will come forward for environmental testing. So we have already, the district already has an AHERA designee. And AHERA, because someone may say, well, what is AHERA? AHERA is Asbestos Hazard Emergency Response Act. So we already use environmental controls, and some of you may remember environmental controls because we used them when they did the well digging over at Evans, and they helped us with a lot of guidance when we first started COVID. So we will use them as our AHERA designated group to oversee the environmental testing for East Lansdowne, Evans, and Kerr Field. Second motion will be for the construction estimation costs. As I stated, we have 4 proposals thus far for Evans. This is what the proposal will look like. Once we review these in July, the blanks will be removed and we'll fill them in with a designated vendor and the cost for those services there. Civil engineering, we have 1 proposal thus far. Again, we will still evaluate that, see if the proposal meets what we're looking for. If not, we will have to continue on, but we will evaluate that, and more than likely it may be that 1 proposal we have thus far. And last is the development of Kerr Field. As I stated, we have 3 proposals that were received. We will hear what they have to say that second week in July, and the committee will come back with a recommendation to the board. So I'm going to pause there. I know we ran through information. Are there any questions on what was proposed or laid out or the scope or the plan?
Jeff, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the development of Kerr Field, it was stated that the contractor was to be a member of the Pennsylvania Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Yes, ma'am.
And I tried to do some research to see just what that was. So can you enlighten me on that?
So what the state does, and Ryan, you jump in if I kind of veer a little bit or if it goes a little astray. What the state does, they have cooperative agreement programs that they set up where a lot of jobs have already been bid out, where there's a set structure set for certain items. So for example, there may be certain items that way you don't have to go out and go through the bidding process. They've already done the bidding process for you. So a set cost is already made up. So you know exactly what your cost is from the beginning. So you won't have the big variable or the big fear that, okay, there may be something that we did not predict. So these companies come in under that cooperative agreement program with the exact cost. So for the most part, you know exactly what your cost will be from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, and just
So is that like a co-stars for professional services?
well, it's not just professional services, it's construction services as well. This is the all-encompassing Kerr Field design build.
So, but it's still like a co-star design program,
Right.
similar.
Yeah.
It's and that's what Ms. Llewellyn should be looking up, co-stars, correct?
I did look that up, but it was not having.
I can put the link,
Excuse me.
put the link in the chat for you.
Okay.
It is through co-stars, right, Jeff?
It's so much that it's the PA cooperative agreement. I'm not sure if that's the exact acronym for them.
Let me know if I put the right link in chat, please. Yeah, it's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Cooperative Purchasing
Yes.
Program.
You're correct.
Yeah, there's so many acronyms. I'm trying to piece them together. I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
That's just
correct.
yeah. Thank you, Ms. Wilkins. So it's right in that chat, Ms. Richardson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So are there any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just dummy this down for me. What we're doing right now, we're just looking into the contractors. We're not really signing anybody just yet, or vetting anybody just yet.
So what we're doing is, so let's break it down. So one is the Kerr Field. What we're doing with Kerr Field is we're going to hear proposals from 3 different companies that will handle everything for Kerr Field from the beginning to the end. That's one concept there for Kerr Field. The other is we receive proposals for a cost estimate for what was described in the narrative, and I'll go back to some read it down.
Okay.
And then once we come out of there, we will select vendors that will do the cost estimation, and then we'll select a vendor that will do the civil engineering test. We're not looking for the overall big Kerr Field. We're not looking for the overall big contractor. We're not looking for the general contractor and the subs and so forth. The only thing that's major is to hear the proposals from the F for Kerr Field. Once we hear that will be the vendor who will handle Kerr Field from the beginning to the end. They will oversee everything. You will go directly through that company.
Is this the part, and you can, and any of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the part where we ask about their change orders and seeing a copy of their last change order?
Well, Ryan, help me here, but I think for Kerr Field, once we know exactly and we have an agreement this year, there is a cost. Now, if their change order would be if we came in with something that we wanted to opt into while they're in the middle, that would be a change order on our part, or unless there was some unforeseen snafu, which I think that would more so be in a building, more so than on the land.
Yeah, no, so Jeff, you're right there on the correct track. You know, unless there was something completely unforeseen, there's a crazy bedrock outcropping that we didn't foresee. But part of that is testing ahead of that to make sure that you know about that before you go ahead and commit to that. So
Yeah, Ryan, we've had it happen to us before. That's why we're asking.
lots of districts have. Lots of districts have. I hear you. I'm
I was gonna
right there
say,
with
any
you.
Civil War heroes? But
So, you know, part of that process is making sure that, you know, that company is going to do X, Y, and Z, cross all their T's, dot all their I's. So part of the hearing their proposals is who does the district most feel comfortable with moving into that cooperative agreement with to do.
And maybe, I'm
curfew
sorry, and
for
maybe I
participants.
might be using the wrong language. My issue is if you say I'm picking up a rock and it's gonna cost us $200, you change the order and say, oh, not only am I picking up the rock, I'm gonna pick up the dirt as well. Is that a change order, or and then charge y'all an additional $1,000 just to pick up the dirt? Is that not a change order?
Well,
I
that would
don't
be,
know. Good, Ryan.
I would, that would be included in their proposal. So that they're gonna know exactly, you know, they're saying we're doing the project for X amount of dollars, which includes excavation of the soil for foundations, which includes steel, you know, and then it progresses from there. So that their proposals will include those types of things. It's anything, you know, above and beyond that. You know, we don't have X-ray vision. We don't have, you know, superpowers to.
Absolutely. But I also want to make sure that we're not, okay, this is my term and I'm going to use it because I'm not an expert on what y'all terms are.
Sure.
I don't want anybody nickel and diming us because, you know, we're William Penn School District and I'm sure they got some money from somewhere. And so they're going to nickel and dime us for every little thing. So I really wanted to see a copy of everyone's change proposal, that their last change proposal. I would like to see whoever we contract to see their last change proposal and see if they had anything.
So ahead of those proposal reviews, we can certainly request that from those companies.
And then my last question is this the part where we just determine diversity and women contractors, that they have to have X amount of, I'm sorry, y'all, I got my mask on and I can't breathe in this goddamn thing. You know, X amount of women workers and X amount of diverse workers.
So during that proposal interview, you could certainly ask each of those companies, you know, their intended use of minority and women workers, correct?
Okay, thank you. That was all my questions.
All right, so, and Joy, I just wanted to share, Joy, with your question, Joy, as we progress more and forward, and we get to the general contractors, where they, I'm talking about when we get into Evans and we get into East Lansing, Annabelle, those are the areas where a lot of that will be more prevalent, and we'll be able to have those conversations on a broader scale.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear, because those questions that Joy asked, are those the questions that the property committee members would be asking as they interview the potential people that we would work with? I just don't want it to appear as if those questions are going to come to a property committee meeting. So I just want to be clear with where those questions would be addressed and answered, because I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that we've identified the individuals who would be a part of the interview process, meaning the interview team that will be interviewing the potential companies that the district may do work with. So just like we do with other committees, there's a subset of board members who do the work and then report back to the entire board about the process and what happened.
Correct. Yes. So that is part of the rubric that I'm preparing. That was actually one of the major components of the rubric I'm preparing. So my plan is to have that rubric completed, send it out to Jan, and then send it out to the rest of the committee for review prior to meeting on July 11th.
Okay. Jan, are you okay with that? I just wanted to make sure that that process is going to work for everyone and that we're all on the same page with how that would proceed.
I think that that is a good way to handle that, as well as some of the questions that Joy has brought up. We can all ask those same questions of our vendors. You know, they may not fit within the rubric. They may or may not fit in with the rubric. You know, I have not seen it yet, but we can still ask those questions, and those questions can still influence our decision as we move forward.
Okay.
But I think that
And can,
Joy's questions are relevant and things that we should consider as we choose our partners moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
and
Beer.
can said process be communicated to the rest of the board
Yes.
in some manner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I guess seeing none, I do want to bring something forth that you know, Mr. Wright has shared with me, and I do firmly believe with it, and it does go hand in hand with what Joy has brought up and Dr. B codes. So with all this money that we are looking to spend moving forward, we do want to make sure that we try to spend some of that money with our local folks, as well as our minority and women-owned companies that, you know, we have within the area. I do understand that some of those companies are not going to be able to fund the entire project, but that they do take part in the project so that we are building ourselves up within the area, that our folks in the community, in all of our communities, are taking part in this process and building community pride within it. So I do want to put that forth, and that we are trying to address those desires within the community as well.
Thank you. And Jan, one of the other things I'll just share with, I mean, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I'll share with the entire the members that are here tonight. We are working with some individuals in the community to at least host a session or a meeting in the month of hopefully September, where we can at least make the public aware of how they can participate in the projects from a working standpoint, to potentially present information that would be applied to a particular project. So we just want to make the information available to individuals in our community. So we're looking at doing something, I believe, in the month of September, but obviously we will provide you and the board with more information in that regard.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful to hear. Any other comments, thoughts? Not hearing any, not seeing any. I'm gonna call this meeting. Have a great afternoon, everyone, rest of your evening, and I will see you all the next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday, everyone.